everyone. Following the AQA syllabus, where you are expected to compare poetry with a prose text, we will compare poetry from the Pre-1900 Anthology with The Great Gatsby. In today's video, we'll go through an essay plan where we will explore love as egocentric in the Scrutiny by Richard Lovelace and compare it to The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. As with previous videos, I will share some critics that you could use in your exam to hit the AO5 required. Firstly, both Lovelace and Fitzgerald portray love as egocentric through self-service. In the Scrutiny, Lovelace uses the repetition of the first person to highlight this self-service. He writes, "Why should you swear I am forsworn, since thine I vow to be?" Here the use of the first person creates an egotistical tone, where the speaker cares little for the poem's subject. Lovelace uses rhetorical questions to undermine the female subject's desire for a monogamous relationship. It can be insinuated that because he's questioning his lover, he may be trying to point the blame at her to invoke feelings of discomfort. The noun forsworn suggests the speaker believes that they should be allowed to act as they please, and therefore their actions are not sins nor unacceptable. The connotations of the verb vowed are that of marriage. Lovelace shows the absurdity of the speaker's desire for a one-night stand compared to the lover's hope for marriage. Indeed, the poem mirrors the highly patriarchal and male-dominated society which viewed men to be entitled to the love of a woman. Lovelace's speaker also uses the rhetorical question, "Have I not loved thee much in long, a tedious 12 hours space?" Here, this repetition amplifies the tedium of the relationship and suggests that the speaker gave his lover enough love. The speaker is portrayed to be bored and suggests his lover is asking too much from him. The egocentrism of the speaker is presented here as they are only thinking of themselves and the effort they have to show that they care, instead of thinking about how much his partner feels. This reference to time represents the speaker's impatience with the subject, as the speaker believes that he should not have to continually declare his love. Similarly, in The Great Gatsby, Fitzgerald presents love as egocentric through Tom's empty promises. Tom Buchanan admits that, "Once in a while I go off on a spree and make a fool of myself, but I always come back and in my heart I love her all the time." Here the repetition of the first person reflects the selfishness of Lovelace's speaker. Ergo, Tom is also selfish. He goes off on sprees. This highlights how much he is excusing his infidelity and polygamy. He doesn't believe he did anything wrong because he always returns to Daisy. The lack of specificity in her is ambiguous. One wonders who Tom is referring to. Perhaps there are far too many hers in his life that he also loves. Moreover, Tom gives empty promises to Myrtle. He lies to her when he claims that Daisy's a Catholic and therefore he can't marry her. He promises Myrtle a happy life and marriage. Yet, in crude irony, Tom blames Gatsby for killing Myrtle rather than directing his anger towards Daisy. Myrtle to Tom is only collateral damage of his sexual adventures. Indeed, as Christine Ramos writes, by attempting to maintain his way of life, Tom has reduced whole peoples to ashes without any thought of consequences. Here Tom reduces Myrtle by giving her false hope and empty promises. To Myrtle, Tom is an American dream, and she cannot access this American dream because Tom reduces her by giving her false hope and empty promises. He maintains his self-serving demeanor through his indifferent sexual adventures. And now I pose to you a question. What about Gatsby? Is he self-serving in his love for Daisy, or is he not? Moreover, both Lovelace and Fitzgerald portray love as egocentric through the objectification of women. In the Scrutiny, Lovelace's speaker believes he is doing the poem's female subject a favour. He writes, "Rob thee of a new embrace." The violent verb rob creates a strong sense that the persona would be stealing from his lover great opportunities of love. Of course, this is absurd. The constraints of 17th century society means that a woman cannot be polygamous, unlike the lover. The persona says this in a mere self-serving manner. Lovelace continues, I must search the black and fair like skilful minorists that sound for treasure in unploughed up ground. The sibilants of search, skilful and sound, highlight an eerie element. It creates a conquest betrayal art of love, one that requires a cavalier hero, much like the persona. Thus the speaker becomes too egotistical in his love. The simile that likens women to inanimate objects like treasure creates a hunting and sport-like association with love. Lovelace's speaker does not care for the women or their personalities, but only of their outward appearances. The noun spoil suggests that love is just a game for the speaker, and the women he is involved with are merely marionettes to show his success in his conquest. This reflects the idea that women must be searched. Men have the duty to hunt women. Indeed, Dosia Richard in 2003 suggests one possible reading of Lovelace's treasure metaphor in the third stanza is that the inconstant lover is collecting virginities. The objectification is further amplified by the silenced voice of the subject. The female lover has no agency. In contrast, the objectification of women is not universal for all characters in The Great Gatsby. Perhaps the only character that really objectifies women in the same way Lovelace's speaker does is Tom Buchanan. He has affairs with other women despite being married. This infidelity culture is further highlighted when Myrtle is deceivingly told that Daisy is a Catholic. Moreover, when Tom questions Daisy's relationship with Gatsby, he justifies his own sprees. We see the double standards of sexuality. On the one hand, Tom is allowed to be an egocentric in his pursuits of love or lust, however you see it, because he's a man. But it is shameful if Daisy partakes in this egocentric pursuit herself. She must stay at home and raise beautiful little fools like herself. It could be said that, to some extent, Gatsby hunts Daisy. He reads the Chicago paper for years just on the chance of catching a glimpse of Daisy's name. However, this is short-lived. He soon remembers his place as Mr. Nobody from nowhere, much like Jacqueline Lance states in 2000, becoming Tom was Gatsby's dream. So Gatsby couldn't fulfill his dream. His insecurity of being Mr. Nobody from nowhere manifests itself into creating Gatsby from J. Gats. It makes Gatsby fall short of his dreams of pursuing his treasures, or Daisy in this instance. For Gatsby, his past hinders his egocentric pursuit of Daisy. And it is an egocentric pursuit because Daisy represents all the treasures he could ever desire and more. She represents the elusive dream that he could only wish for, the riches of old money, and the social status he's so desperate to attain. Lastly, both Lovelace and Fitzgerald present love as egotistical through male arrogance. In the Scrutiny, Lovelace portrays his speaker's arrogance when he writes, "If when I have loved my round, thou provest a pleasant she." Here we see a competition for the speaker's love. The abstract noun round suggests that love is only for entertainment and it does not involve feelings or emotion. This idea is again selfish, as it shows the speaker has no care for how other people involved feel, as they are just mere pawns in his game. Here, Lovelace portrays an assumed willingness of the female lover to wait for the speaker, as though she has nothing better to do. The speaker almost expects the lover to wait for him. Women are mere conquests. The speaker alludes to strengths and benefits he gained from his other sexual adventures. It's interesting as the double standards of female virginity and male sexual expertise clash. As ironic as the speaker first attempts to persuade his lover that he'd be robbing her of a new embrace. Of course, he wouldn't be robbing her of anything, as by 17th century standards, female virtue dictates a monogamous life for women. Their purity is on the line if they are found to be sleeping around. Truly, as Dosia Richards states in 2003, Lovelace paradoxically asserts a demand for a unique individual. He wants to possess the individual rather than have the variety. Here the connotations of treasure is shown. He desires to possess the lover and bind her love to him and doesn't allow her to have much choice. She must wait for him, even if there's a possibility he might actually not return. This arrogance is further highlighted when N.H. Holland in 1964 states, "It is a rather nasty poem, cruel, clever, somehow lacking in real emotion." Lovelace's speaker is indifferent to his lover. In many respects, his lover could be substituted with any woman. There's nothing special about her. It would not make any difference. The speaker says the same things to all his women. Similarly, Fitzgerald presents arrogance in The Great Gatsby. He writes that the Buchanans retreat to their vast carelessness. Tom is very arrogant. He talks of Gatsby as a common swindler who'd have to steal the ring you put on your finger. The contrast between old money and new money is very stark. The arrogance also of George when he violently beats his wife is shown, just because she's disloyal. His violence and toxic masculinity takes the form of arrogance because he can't comprehend Myrtle's audacity to be unfaithful. This male arrogance is manifested as egocentric love, and we see this again when Myrtle has her nose broken by Tom, because he is so sure of his own self and sure of his money that he can do whatever he wants to Myrtle, who lives only in the Valley of Ashes. Similarly, Tom finds it difficult to understand that Daisy could ever leave him or have an affair with another man. Daisy, like the female lover in Lovelace's poem, is expected to wait for Tom to always come back. Thus, male arrogance manifests into egocentric love. This marks the end of this video. If this has helped you, comment down below and give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this and click the bell for post notifications whenever I upload. And see you very, very soon with another video.